thank you everyone for joining us. We were joined today by multiple prominent speakers after an introductory address by the president of ACFE Hyderabad chapter, Shri Sarath Kumar. We were joined with Bruce Torres, who is the international ACFE president, and he joined us for the inauguration address. And he, in such a crisp manner, took us through the Report to Nations 2020 and covered in quite a lot of detail the frauds in wake of COVID-19 benchmarking report. I would really personally recommend that all of us go through these reports. As members, we have access to these reports, and I personally use them for research and several presentations. If any of us are having any trouble convincing our organizations on the need to install controls or need to implement anti-fraud controls, these reports give a lot of statistics on this matter. So I would strongly recommend that we go through these reports. This was then followed by a session on rule of law and constitutional values by Professor Madhabhushi Sridhar. He took us through a different line of thought, and he gave us a lot to think about in terms of, and he gave a different perspective in the terms of what we do, how it falls as a constitutional duty, how it is just not a profession, but how we can see what we do as a constitutional duty also, and take all the more pride in this. And he was able to give us a lot of historic references, and I was somewhere personally thinking that I only wish my teachers and professors had given me this kind of detail. Maybe I would have gone into different subjects also, but that was one definitely very interesting session that all of us agreed. And he also, there were certain gems and phrases that he had brought up when he in passing, he just mentioned that humanitarianism is the supreme thing, and the value of natural rights and the rights to life. This was then followed by a session on ethical dimensions for trustworthy AI by Mr. Ganesan Ramani. And he took us through the ethical issues around AI and the ethical dimensions around it, the applications of artificial intelligence, and how we can ensure trustworthy AI, because it is unavoidable. It is a natural course of evolution, if I can use the word natural for artificial intelligence. But that said, he did take us through in a lot of detail around the ethical issues and how those can be navigated, how we can mitigate those. This was then, of course, in the end, in the last but not the least, the session around cybercrime investigations, including cloud computing evidence, cybercrime scene examination by Dr. Edwards. While this has been the last session, and he has quite detailed, quite technical, and he has given us a lot of inputs on what to be mindful of when it comes to remote imaging and working across geographies. And this has been I think a great day one of ACFE Hyderabad annual conference, and I would especially want to call out people who are joining us from multiple geographies, from Canada, Costa Rica. Thank you. And I think with so much participation and involvement is what makes this conference on all the sessions all the more interesting. So thank you very much.
In the interest of time, I'll keep it real short. So the day two of conference kick-started by our Vice President GCS Sharma sir, and he set the tempo really well by sharing some real life, recent fraud cases. So that created the momentum for the day two, and followed by the keynote speaker, Mr. Amit Garg, who emphasized on the importance of business ethics, and he also explained that how important it is to understand the process rather than just leveraging the technology. He also mentioned like it is important for the law enforcement department and ACFEs to work jointly to crack many of the fraud cases. And this his session was followed by Mr. Triveni Singh. This was one of the most interactive session in the 2 days conference, where he patiently answered n number of questions from the participants, and again with the real life examples and scenarios. And his session was followed by Mr. Vital Raj with fintech frauds. He explained the basics of explained the basics of fintech, and then he shared some cases around fintech frauds. And that session was also insightful. And to conclude it, we had a session from our Sharat sir, who discussed about the identity theft versus impersonation frauds, and he also shared a lot of real life cases, and he also provided some solutions to such cases. So in fact, like day 2 was equally well received, and we believe like it was a well spent Sunday.